She's a beauty.
Yeah.
She's letting herself be admired. No way she's going to do any work now.
Pas pour le moment. On va peut-être essayer de la...
We can try getting her to work. Her personality is really
Very placid.
Très placide.
On sent qu'elle est
The
fatiguée.
little lady seems tired.
Mais garde son indépendance.
She keeps her independence.
Elle est élégante.
She's very gentle and sweet.
Et dire que,
And to
que
think
tout le
that
monde a
people
peur
are
des
afraid of
araignées.
spiders.
Donc, c'est tellement gentil. Ça, elle les
She
caresse.
likes being petted.
Voilà. Regarde. Bon, apparemment, elle a pas
She
compris
obviously
que-
doesn't realize that there's a web to spun here.
Enfin, si on veut lui faire
Actually, if we want her to
beaucoup de
produce the
filles,
threads, she's got to get a little more active than this.
Voilà.
I have to wait until she feels like it.
attendre qu'elle veuille-
And we've got to wait until she wants to go on working and finish her web, maybe a little later on.
We should thank God for not making the spider the size of a cow or a dog, says an 18th century children's tale. The spider is a terrifying animal. She stuck her fangs into the abdomen of a grasshopper. Then she injected her gastric juices, which totally dissolved all of the animal's tissue. Now the greedy thing sucks in the victim's flesh as if she were drinking through a straw. The spider is a wild beast that kills to eat. From this point, it's only one short step for man to think it could go after us as well. Man is a very sensitive, emotional creature. Having always been associated with black, with death, and with the devil, the spider has inevitably entered the elite circle of the most despised animals in all creation. At the Museum of Natural History, François Terrasson is interested in the relationship between man and animals. He's studied the case of the spider.
The spider's manner of eating, the fact that it's carnivorous, that it attacks its prey, poisons it, and sucks out all its substance, reminds us that we live in ecosystems in which everyone eats everyone else. It brings back the age-old question which children think about and which is found in their stories. Could it eat us? The whole of human imagination in our society answers, no, 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 we humans cannot be eaten. On the contrary. Spiders, which can easily walk over you with their numerous legs, give us a preview of a kind of rape or violation which is all the more felt because we're not prepared for it. This sort of eroticism of fear is completely submerging to us. People are lost, they don't know what to do, they're totally disoriented. It's said, of course, that men take pleasure in describing how female spiders devour their males, and that we try to find certain analogies in our human society.
Our imagination finds its sources in reality. The male of this female spider is 160 times smaller than its partner. Sometimes she succumbs to the pleasure of devouring her companion after mating. Our imagination is filled with terrifying and delectable illusions in which death lives side by side with carnal pleasure. Michel Cazenave, author of the Encyclopedia of Symbols, discusses this.
L'araignée n'est jamais une araignée mâle.
The spider is always a she, a female, never a male.
Avec l'araignée,
She always has a feminine, maternal side. With the spider, we touch the heart of man's worst fantasy, that of being devoured by the stomach of a woman, as if he were at the same time frightened of going back, of regressing in time to the very moment when he was a fetus in his mother's stomach, or even before he was a fetus, when he was, strictly speaking, nothing.
Il n'était, à strictement parler, à rien. C'est un fantasme absolument universel.
It's a completely universal fantasy. I think, for example, of Victor Hugo's novel, The Man Who Laughed. The hero is received by an English lady. He has a vision that this woman, whom he desires sexually, is a spider in the center of the web that she's spun to take him prisoner, to mate with him before feasting on him.
Dans l'accouplement, elle va le dévorer.
It's as if the woman were this diabolical creature who constantly threatened our lives by setting a trap for us, which we are going to fall into, and which is going to imprison and then destroy us.
Dans lequel nous allons disparaître.
C'est pas drôle. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Qu'est-ce que vous faites? Non mais, c'est pas sérieux. Qu'est-ce que vous avez? Je vous en prie, arrêtez.
It's one of the most hated of all animals. It's as if it represented something so terrifying that we don't even dare give it a name, and that this fear is carved deep inside our bodies or even deep in our souls.
Devant cet animal.
A hairy black monster, the trapdoor spider is even more feared than the other species. André Letz has an impressive collection.
It's an animal that never attacks. It'll never jump on us. It always defends itself if we try to touch it. If we don't know it's there, that's where the real danger lies. Every living thing in nature is afraid of us. That's the first thing we have to understand. We have to put ourselves on the same level in order to get close to the animal. What's great is to put ourselves in its place and understand how it functions, why it has a chemical weapon, why it's frightened, and how it reacts when our paths cross. The spider is a very calm animal. It hears nothing, sees practically nothing, and it's developed the ability to spin a web, which is its way of communicating with its environment to create a territory that it can control. People have no reason to fear these animals, and once we learn how to approach them and get to know them, we'll realize that we've nothing to be afraid of. We prefer to ignore them because we see no use in getting to know them, which is a pity. It is useful since we do live with them.
There's a very special kind of spider entirely conceived by our imagination, a beast entrenched in the darker zones of our minds. It haunts our nightmares, always ready to attack us. Alongside this spider is another one, which bears very little resemblance to the former. It's the spider biologist study. Christine Roland is the spider specialist at the Museum of Natural History. I see people who have a very strong fear of spiders, bordering on phobia. Most often this repulsion is expressed in terms of the animal's dark color, their hairiness, their speed, and since we never know which way they're going to go. These are the things you hear most. The way they look has created so many legends and rumors about them. Of the 40,000 known species of spider, about 100 can cause a physical reaction in a human being, and only about 10 are truly dangerous, sometimes causing death. So we can be bitten by almost any spider. If we bother them, as wild animals, they'll defend themselves by biting us. But the venom will not necessarily be harmful to us. There's enormous diversity among spiders, which is hard to imagine if you don't know them. There's a wide variety of shapes and colors. Sizes can vary from less to a millimeter to about 15 centimeters wide. For the biggest trapdoor spiders, which we see quite often, the variety is tremendous, and this diversity is very interesting since it opens the door to many different things. In the ethnology laboratory of the University of Nancy, spider behavior is being studied. Bertrand Kraft is head of the department. He's examining the hunting methods of spider colonies in French Guiana. These colonies can gather together many hundreds of thousands of individuals and build structures covering hundreds of square meters. Like their architecture, hunting is a collective effort.
Voilà, c'est parti.
There. The fly is being
La
attacked.
mouche est attaquée. Une première
One
araignée,
spider, two spiders,
trois
three
araignées.
spiders, and there they go,
Et ça y est, projet de la
projecting their
survie
sticky
sur
strands on the
la
fly,
sortir.
which has no chance of escaping.
On est dans la phase de transport.
This is the transport phase.
Ça monte pas très
It doesn't
vite.
climb very
Il va
fast,
être
but
déplacé
the victim is
jusque
going to be
sous
taken
les
under the
feuilles
green leaves,
qui
which the
servent
spiders
aux
use for shelter.
On peut pas dire
You
que les
can't say
araignées
that
sont
spiders are
intelligentes.
intelligent, but what then is the mechanism that creates the coordination necessary for building this kind of structure and capturing large prey?
La question,
The
c'est
question
comment
is how to
produire,
produce,
intelligence,
quote,
entre guillemets,
intelligence
avec
in
un
individuals
intelligence
with no intelligence at all.
C'est ça,
That's the
notre
subject of our research.
How do spiders perceive the presence of prey in an area, and how do they decide on the dimensions of their web? These are the questions Alain Pasquet is trying to answer as he observes the construction methods of Occidental spiders.
Elle fixe le rayon,
Now she's fixing the strand.
elle redescend au centre,
She goes down to the center,
et là, elle repart pour un rayon. Elle
and she
redescend
goes
par
down
un
a strand that
rayon
already
des
exists.
existants. Donc elle tire, et hop, elle
She
dépose
places the
sur-
thread on it and makes it stick.
Elle en tire un autre.
She pulls
elle
out
va sur le
another,
rayon à côté,
goes
elle
to the
redescend.
next strand, comes down, and puts it in place.
Elle prend la distance.
She gets
avec
the
sa
right
patte
distance with her back leg and deposits the thread and measures the area.
Le fil précédent était posé.
There, she's touched the area where the previous thread was placed. That way, she can calculate the distance between there and the next strand.
Là, elle termine de tisser une plage centrale.
Now she's weaving a central point, which enables her to consolidate the entire structure.
Dans une toile comme
In
ça,
a web
on peut
like the one we've
construire,
just
il y a à
seen
peu près
built,
1 milligramme de-
there's about 1 milligram of silk, and this milligram is enough to capture prey weighing 30, 40, or perhaps 50 milligrams.
30, 40, voire 50 milligrammes. C'est un matériau
It's a
assez
pretty
extraordinaire,
extraordinary material developed by glands located in the spider's organism and which are in a liquid state for a moment, and once exposed to the air, solidify instantly, forming this highly resistant yet supple material capable of very interesting and dynamic activity.
et avec des performances dynamiques assez intéressantes.
For human beings who are natural worriers, discoveries dealing with animals are met with great suspicion. The spider's threads are not a brilliant invention for us, but a sticky, disgusting thing. It's the epitome of a diabolical trap which we are petrified of falling into.